It's time for Mr. Fundamental!
Presented by no one.
After reports that the Raptors have signed Aron Baynes to a short-term deal, both Raptors and Baynes fans have been going crazy. Even my breakdown on Baynes had a huge surge in views, so thank you all for all the support. Anyways, I think this pairing might be one of the best in the 2020 offseason in terms of both financial situation and on-court production. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Raptors had one of the best defenses last year, with a combination of personnel and ever-changing schemes. Even in their series against the Celtics, their defense was still doing its thing, but it couldn't overcome the tough shot-making ability of the Celtics and the jump passes they made to stun their defensive rotations. With that said, Gasol played a huge role in their defense, since he can take on bruising bigs like Embiid. What separated him from typical lumbering bigs is his ability to read and make the correct defensive play. He shows on the ball screen since Hollis Jefferson is trailing, and to get the ball out of Kawhi's hands. The trap pushes Kawhi near half court, and the Clippers turn it over. Now Baynes might not be on people's depoy list, but he's a smart defender who can carry out schemes to a T, something that Nick Nurse will love. Baynes isn't afraid to show on the screen to prevent a pull-up three. He tries to recover after the pocket pass against a quicker Bam. When he realizes Saric is in position, he turns to the open man. Check out how he steps above the charge circle, goes straight up, and absorbs all the contact to draw the offensive foul. He shows on the screen against a pull-up threat in Mitchell, and retreats when Gobert rolls to the rim. When the ball reverses, Baynes steps up at the right time to draw a charge. The Raptors love experimenting defensively, and Baynes is always up for the task, just like when he guarded Ben Simmons in one of the matchups. He isn't super quick, and Simmons got to the rim, but his strength and length forces Simmons to take these wild shots. Simmons drives past Baynes, but see how he fumbles the ball while anticipating Baynes' strength. This allows Baynes to recover and force another off-balance shot. It wouldn't be hard to envision him in Gasol's place here. He pushes up on Tice to force the action to run higher. On the pin down, he jabs at Tatum in case of a pull-up, while staying in front of the roller. On the following Brown drive, he steps up to add pressure. Seeing how Brown picked up his dribble, he retreats to his man in case of a dump-off, and a contested off-balance floater is a shot they're willing to give up. Retreating earlier is also the reason Lowry gets a nice contest on this 3-ball. Maybe Baynes can't fully replicate Gasol's cerebral defense, but 80 to 90% is definitely within reach. Most importantly, the effort and willingness to get out on the perimeter is there. He'll fit right into the Raptors schemes in collapsing and blocking off the paint, before an all-out effort to contest perimeter jumpers. What led to the Raptors' playoff exit was their offense, and I detailed how isolation scoring is one area the Raptors need to shore up. While Baynes isn't a shot creator, he elevates the Raptors' offense and might remedy the need for an isolation scorer. Just a quick recap on the Raptors' offense if you missed any of my previous videos. Lowry and VanVleet will constantly run pick and rolls to get into the lane. Their main focus isn't to score, but create off-the-catch opportunities to make life easier for everyone else. Here's some numbers. VanVleet averages around 14 drives per game, but only takes 4 shots and scores 4 points out of these drives. Compare that to his counterparts on this list, you see the Raptors focus on using VanVleet to generate looks beyond the arc. The Celtics sagging back Daniel Tice really hindered the Raptors' offense. They either dared the Raptors centers to shoot, or forced both Lowry and VanVleet to challenge Tice at the rim. The most obvious part of Baynes' addition is his 3-point shooting. He turned into a splash volcano last year, shooting and making high-volume threes in his limited minutes. He'll easily slot into the Raptors' pick-and-pop situations and replicate the 5-out offense they've been running all year. Gone are these Gasol hesitant threes, and hello quick-trigger Baynes triples. Nick Nurse has already told Baynes to be aggressive, and that's exactly what the Raptors need after the Celtics dared the bigs to take those threes. Baynes has no problem taking these threes with a defender closing out. Taking and making these shots will open up the floor a lot more for his teammates. Granted, Baynes was on fire this game. Very few centers have the balls to take a step back 3, and he's able to make it. Baynes' 3-point stroke is going to pull the big out of the paint, but he has other tricks to open up the floor if his jumper isn't falling. Baynes' screens are on another level. Look at how much space and time Oubre has to knock down this triple. His huge body could actually take defenders out of the equation, and Raptors guards will get wide open looks. His screens are like a roadblock. Defenders get so frustrated getting around it that they take the longer route or pick up a foul. Baynes is also good at adjusting his screens. O'Neal tries to cut through the gap, so Baynes rotates and screens off the direct path to Booker, and they generate an open look. Look at McCollum deciding how to get around the screen. That's all it takes for Lowry and VanVleet to drain this pull-up triple off of screens. both Gasol and Ibaka weren't great as rollers, and this could be the indecisiveness to roll or pop. Baines isn't a whole lot better, but he has a pretty good system in terms of when to roll and when to pop. When a defender goes over the screen, he'll roll to the basket. That's because he already created an advantage by making the first defender trailing. His man's gotta decide whether to pick up Sarich or Baines, and the between the legs pass gets him the basket. Again, Baines isn't the most dangerous roller, but he is the most devastating sealer. This whole action was contained well by the Clippers, but Baines carves up space in the paint by sealing Zubac on the roll. Now Booker has this whole lane to attack the rim. No call on Zubac, but you can see how ineffective his help was after fending off Baines. Looking at this again, Baines took out the primary helper on the drive, so the next defender responsible to rotate is Lou Will in the corner. If he sinks any lower, this will be a wide open corner 3. The Hawks might have been relieved after containing the first action, but that's when the late steal by Baines bites them. Check out Baines' post position, something we'll get into later. Sarich built by his man, and Baines pinned the next helper underneath the basket. Reddish has to go the long way around Baines, and other weak side defenders were too late to contest the layup. These are going to benefit Lowry and Van Fleet, who will get much more open looks at the rim. Now they only need to focus on beating their man, and not about the big coming over for a weak side block, since Baines has Biyombo sealed away from the action. Gasol doesn't do this often, but here's a rare clip. He occupied Leonard to get the cutting OG and easy dunk. Baines' seal isn't just restricted to pick and rolls. Anytime there's a drive, he'll establish post position. While it seems like he's in the way of the drive, he made JV's contest ineffective, and Oubre gets a nice easy floater. He'll do this in transition as well, where bigs have a tough time bodying him when he has the momentum as well, and they're forced to foul. The reason I mentioned isolation scoring was a need for the Raptors is because their guards can't consistently score after switches, like in some modern day big like Tice. Baines' presence changes this by creating another mismatch. Not many bigs can handle Baines, let alone a guard. Some teams might execute a pre-switch, but typical forwards don't have the strength to stop him either. Here's a quick post entry, and Baines hits the lefty hook. The Raptors did throw the ball into Ibaka for a few occasions, but failed to score in most of them, allowing the Celtics to get away with a smaller player on him. Baines isn't an upgrade in terms of post scoring, but sheer size and strength will put more stress on the defense if they guard him with a smaller player. In transition, the Nets are cross-match. Any non-center won't be able to match his strength, and a power move gets him the and one. This brings us to another offensive focus by the Raptors, and that's creating a numbers advantage. They always try to draw the extra help on defense and get into their driving kicks. They'll keep finding the open man until they get an open shot. Referring back to the Celtics series again, their post-ups, especially with Siakam, weren't able to do that. The Celtics played him straight up with smaller defenders, and that took away the Raptors' usual flow. With Baines, the Raptors don't have to attack a good perimeter big in Tice off the dribble. They have the option to get it to Baines. You can see the pre-switch to get a bigger body on him, but that's ineffective with Baines' build, and he'll make the close basket. Since Raptors guards are pull-up threats, they'll see a lot of doubles. This is where Baines' short roll comes in, and see how smaller players are rotating from the weak side. Baines can just overpower them this close to the basket. The point is that Raptors now have more options when teams switch pick and rolls, and these mismatches on Baines will kickstart their numbers advantage and off-the-catch offense. I thought the Raptors would keep at least one of Gasol or Ibaka, but Baines was the perfect fallback option that could help with some problems they've had last year. Baines combines the attributes that the Raptors need with Gasol's defense, Ibaka's willingness to score, but also rumored free agent target Montrezl Harrell's ability to carve out space in the paint. This is a pretty good pairing off the court as well. The Raptors remain competitive and keep cap flexibility for next year, while Baines have a clear path for big minutes and possibly an even bigger payday next year. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think Baines can do for the Raptors, and how far the Raptors can go this year. Remember to drop a like rating down below, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.